Hi, I'm Sally. I'm 25, and I have schizoaffective disorder bipolar type, which means that I have schizophrenia and a mood disorder in my kid's bipolar disorder.
Hi, my name is Sophie, and I am Sally's mom. So today we want to talk to you about what it's like to experience delusions. Delusions are strong beliefs that are unlikely to be true and are probably perceived as irrational by other people. They occur in about 90% of people who live with schizophrenia and half of people who have a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. So Sally, do you want to talk a little bit about the different kinds of delusions?
So one form of delusions is thinking that there's like a hidden significance in things around you. So I thought that there were messages being communicated to me through the media. I thought that people wearing orange and green together was like a secret message. I thought when I saw people with nose rings that was a secret message. And even just, watching you when you would like brush your nose or like tuck your hair behind your ear, I thought all of those were secret messages. Another type of delusions is thinking that you have special powers, or that you are somebody famous like God. And I experienced that as well. I thought I was secretly rich and famous, and those are called delusions of grandeur. And then the third type is thinking that others are out to get you. And sometimes these can be really complex plots involving institutions, a very common stereotype or experience of this kind of delusion is thinking like the CIA or the FBI is out to get you. And I experienced that as well. I thought there was like this big sort of conspiracy with the state government of California out to get me. And that was a driving force behind my delusions.
So, honey, you were in psychosis for 9 months, which is a pretty long time. Did you have delusions that whole time?
I definitely believed things that weren't true that whole time. I didn't always have new delusions. So the way that delusions sort of came up for me was that I would just have sort of like fake memories pop into my head that felt really real, but they were like a little fuzzier than actual memories, but I just believed them and trusted them as real memories. So for that whole 9 months, I believed the fake memories were real memories, but I wasn't constantly experiencing the onset of new memories, if that makes sense.
So I also wanted to talk about some common misperceptions about delusions. So I thought I'd ask you some questions that I've been asked by other people.
Okay.
So when you're having delusions, are you actually another person? Like, is it a split personality situation?
No, that's actually a stereotype of people with schizophrenia that's completely untrue. I've experienced that sort of form of stigma myself when people have told me, like, I'm working on so many different projects, I feel like I'm schizophrenic or something like that, that refers to the fake belief that, or like the false belief that people with schizophrenia experience multiple personalities, but that's actually an entirely separate mental health condition called dissociative identity disorder. Schizophrenia basically just means that you experience psychosis, like the hallucinations and delusions.
Did you find that your delusions came on all of a sudden, or was it kind of gradual?
Well, the way that delusions sort of happen is it's just really intense rumination. Like you're just sitting there and you're thinking and you're trying really hard to remember something, and then it sort of rips this hole in your consciousness and just fake memories sort of come up and come into fruition for you. So yeah, I mean, I guess I would say it was gradual. They sort of get colored in, like the lines get colored in over time, or like they sort of just solidify over time, if that makes sense.
So while you're having delusions, are you dangerous?
No, actually, the rates of violent acts for people with schizophrenia is the exact same as the general population, which is 1 in 100. And people with schizophrenia are actually much more likely to be the victims of violence than they are the perpetrators. And so for me, really having delusions just meant that I believed things that weren't true. Like when Trump was president, I believed Joe Biden was president. And that, I was just going through life as a regular person, walking down the street, just thinking Joe Biden was president. And that was pretty much the only difference. So no, it didn't make me dangerous.
Well, now, on the subject of you believing that Biden was president back when Trump was, why is it that I couldn't prove that wasn't true just by showing you the TV news?
Yeah, well, my delusions sort of evolved to rationalize any evidence that was presented to me that challenged the delusions. So, you would say that, you would show me a news article or something, and I just believed that it was planted to confuse me, that it was like parts of of just what was going on in my life, like with outside forces sort of controlling me. Like it was part of the grand conspiracy that I was sort of imagining.
So when people are in delusions, do they need to be in the hospital?
Sometimes, because the delusions can cause you to put yourself in dangerous situations. And, you know, if you're going to be in danger, it's safer for you to be in the hospital than it is to be out on the street. But, you know, not always. I was experiencing delusions for 9 whole months, and it would have been kind of impractical for me to be in the hospital for 9 whole months. And like I was saying, it was pretty normal. I was just walking down the street thinking Joe Biden was president. So, yeah, I wasn't always dangerous to myself. I was never dangerous to others. And so I didn't need to be in the hospital except for a few acute times when I was putting myself in dangerous situations.
Do you think your delusions could come back any old time, and would there be any warning?
Well, I mean, I do think I manage my disorder very, very well. I take my medication, and that has been a huge help in like keeping my symptoms at bay. I also stay really active, and you know, for me, the delusions happen when I don't have a lot of other external stimuli going on to focus on. I just get like very withdrawn, and I just sort of ruminate, like I was saying, on certain events and certain gaps in memory, and then my brain just sort of fills those gaps with fake memories. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I compare it to like diabetes a lot. Like, you know, you just after a while sort of sense when your blood sugar is low, and then you just eat a candy bar. Like for me, I just sort of sense when my mind's getting mushy, and then I just, you know, get a really good night's sleep, or like read a book, or like talk to somebody, or do something to sort of get me outside of my own head. So yeah, I haven't experienced delusions in quite some time, but if they were to come back, I think I would know the warning signs and be able to adjust accordingly.
So Sal, what is one thing that you wish people understood about delusions?
I wish they weren't viewed so frequently as like horrible, as traumatic, as, you know, this huge medical problem that can't be dealt with. For me, often my delusions were really fun, really beautiful, really whimsical. They were scary and terrifying at some points, but yeah, they were just kind of a cool experience to go through. And, you know, like sometimes people use the phrase lost time to describe time during which you're delusional. And I don't like that, because I think it was just like another experience in life that I went through. It's like sort of an adventure on its own. And yeah, I just I wish people sort of respected it for like the unique experience that it is. So thanks for joining us today, and check back soon because we're going to be doing another video on how to talk to somebody experiencing delusions. Take care.